everybody. I'm working on the ceiling texture. We had a part of the ceiling in the living room of the house had collapsed sometime back when we were doing tear out. Now that I've got the drywall back up and I have the ceiling boards back up in place, I'm just using some spray texture to match the popcorn and the rest of the ceiling. Got these Homax ceiling texture Pro-Grade popcorn ceiling stuff. Match the rest. I got the Pro-Grade. It cost a little bit more, but I was hoping that that meant that it was easier to apply and also that the result would be a little bit better. So I've got to shake this upside down for about a minute or so. Just been kind of getting it ready. I've already used this to spray a few spots where I had scraped off some areas of loose ceiling texture from before. And it covered the patches pretty nicely, I think. It's not an exact match to the old popcorn. I'll kind of show you the detail here in a minute. But I was just going to show those of you from my lessons learned here in using this from last weekend. Let's keep this good and shook up. I'm going to open this up. First thing, as soon as I start to spray, I'm going to keep my arm in motion, because as soon as I keep this in one spot for any period of time, I have a big clump of this junk and it's going to look like crap and I'm going to have to scrape it off and start over again. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to show you how it goes. Okay, so I'm going to do a back and forth motion, back and forth this way. I do about 2 foot swath back and forth like this. And then I'll come back and do a cross section to kind of cover it a little bit more. And it makes a more or less even pattern is what I've found so far. This can lasts for about, I don't know, a swath of one can covered from here back to the wall. So I've got a 6 foot section that it covered. So 3 by 6 areas that one can covered. So, all right, here we go. Keep my arm in motion. Okay. Keep it shook up, like I said, found keeps it a good consistency. The more you shake it. All right. Now I'm going to go back and forth in a cross section to kind of fill it in and even out the pattern. You saw the directions say to keep it about 20 inches from the ceiling. I find a little bit closer is actually better. Otherwise you get big clumps. And then when you get to the end of the can, it doesn't actually propel the stuff up onto the ceiling. And you'll have a little bit left in the can that you just can't get on the ceiling. But so we'll see if I can get the rest of this cross section done. I'll kind of show you how it looks. So, all right. So you kind of see how that goes when the can is empty, and it doesn't last long, but I did cover about another 3 by 6 foot section or so. And you can see at the end it kind of comes out in big clumps like this. Now I've got my drop cloth underneath me to keep as much of it as I can off the floor. I still have a big mess to clean up off the floor. But my walls are already textured and painted, but I'm going to have to go back over it with a different color. So that's about that for this can. Kind of see how it started to spit at the end. It's like silly string gone wrong. I'll just kind of show you how it looks. Obviously when the ceiling's painted, I think it'll look a little bit better. They say you want to go for about a 50% cover. So we cover about 50% of the area is covered with the texture. I think when I get paint on this, it'll look pretty decent. You'll see over here where I did some last week, it's a little thicker. I also sprayed I had patches that I had scraped clean and sprayed over. So I also sprayed in some sections popcorn over popcorn, so it got a little thick, and some sections of the ceiling are just old. You'll see I kind of have these stalagmites up here. I expect those will knock down just fine when I paint the ceiling. Not too worried about those. One thing I will want to do though now is I've got a broom. I'm gonna go ahead and get the excess ceiling texture off the walls so that I don't make too much of a mess. That's about been my process. So a couple of tips then that I would give anybody trying this for the first time, and I'm not an expert, but just what I've learned so far. Yeah, so just a couple of things then that I learned so far, just quick tips for anybody doing this. First, I would just say keep fast hand movement, do a little bit of a swath, and do a cross section one way, kind of do cross hatches one direction, and then go back over that same section with cross hatches the other way. And it kind of gives you a good even coat. Look for about a 50% coverage. One can of that stuff that I showed you guys covers about a 3 by 6 foot area. Hopefully that helps you at least plan for how much ceiling texture you need if you're going to use these spray cans. Maybe saves you some of the trouble that I had early on when I was doing the earlier sections where stuff was flying everywhere and the coverage wasn't good and the pattern wasn't even. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Chris, Canterbury Trails Farm, and we'll see you next time.